happy Thursday or Friday Eve, as we like to call it, or Friday Junior, whatever you like. We're almost a Friday, and I'm just looking forward to that. It is January 25th, 7:30 on the dot. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett. I'm your host, Bridgett Ellison. Hope you're waking up to a nice morning this morning, very mild, and it will be hot today. Meteorologist Candace Campos is standing by, and you have a different viewpoint there this morning, Candace.
I'm trying something new,
I like
Bridget.
it. It
You
looks
like
it
it?
looks
Okay.
it looks nice and clear and crisp.
Thank you. We have these cool little icons and logos and stuff. We never use them in here,
Hmm.
so let's do it,
I
right?
like it. I like it. So you said the kids were complaining that it was so hot yesterday.
It's so funny because, in November when it finally cools down to 80 degrees, it feels so nice. You're like, oh my God, it's so cool outside.
Hmm.
But then when you're dealing with 60s and 70s and you're cranking temperatures up to 80 degrees, then all of a sudden you're like, oh gosh, so warm. Yeah, we were just kind of like swinging on the swing and just kind of
Hmm.
hanging out before we started making dinner and whatnot. And Alessia was like, it's so hot out here. And I'm like, it's 81 degrees. It's not
I
that
know.
hot, but it's all relative, right?
I know. Mine cranked up the AC in the car because there's like a fan control where they can reach, and I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, who turned on the air?
Yeah, the kids. The
Yeah.
kids.
And you said they have
Before
all
you
these
know,
sweaters stacked up in their cubbies too. So at least they
oh
didn't
yeah,
lose them.
that was the other thing. I went to pick up Sienna from daycare, and they have like the little cubbies where they're like the little sleep sack and the pillow and change of clothes or whatever's in there. And I went in to pick her up, and I looked because I don't do drop offs, so all of a sudden I turned and I looked, and her cubby was exploding of
Like that's where they all
sweaters.
are.
I'm like, that's where your stinking
I
sweaters
know.
are. So you could put these sweaters away, but just beware that we'll need the sweaters as we head into early next week.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take it
Mm-hmm.
to the map to show you what's going on across the area. We are dealing with a little bit of visibility issues at this hour. We're down to about a mile or so visibility in areas of Sanford and Leesburg. We are seeing a little more widespread threat there along the coast of Volusia and Flagler County. Now, the good news is most of that fog will lift in the next hour or so. Live look outside, temperatures of 64 degrees right now, looking nice, although we are still dealing with some of that fog this morning. Temperatures elsewhere, we're in the 60s area wide. We did hit 70 at one point in Melbourne. Right now we're down to 69, 61 degrees in Palm Coast. But highs for today back up to near record values. We're going to be in the low 80s today in Orlando, same through Sanford and Leesburg. But Sanford and Leesburg are the two locations that are going to be nearing records, not because those are the two areas that are going to be hotter than everyone else. It's just the records aren't as high. So we're up to 85 for your record in Leesburg and Sanford. By the way, both set just last year. So if you remember last year, this was kind of another little warm slice that we dealt with in the month of January. When we certainly, abnormally warm weather for this season, we're also talking about the potential for seeing a little bit of sea breeze showers later on today. You can see the wind barbs there, how the winds, some are coming in from the southeast, but then over like Polk County, you can see the wind starting to come in more out of the west. And it's going to be that collision that we're going to see develop, kind of that zippering effect there across areas west and north of I-4. So later on tonight, I am increasing that chance of rain just a bit, up to about 20 to 30% for areas as far east of as maybe Western Orange and Seminole County. So rain chances again aren't going to be extremely widespread, but I do want to show you that rain chances do go up after about 4 or 5 o'clock for those inland areas. And then once again, it's going to be another warm night. And Bridget, we talked a little bit about this earlier this
Oh.
week, how the pollen numbers are going up. I made this graphic, looked nationally, and we
Mm-hmm.
are technically the worst pollen spot today and could be
Oh.
for a while. So as of now, we haven't switched over to the grass and oak season just yet. So if you're one of those who suffer from those like late winter allergies, juniper, elm, alder, those are the three main concerns for pollen for allergy sufferers out
Mm-hmm.
there. And then next 7 days, it just looks warm. We're going to be still in the mid 80s. Still, the warmest day could be on Saturday at 84 degrees. We have a cold front come through on Sunday. That's going to kind of clear things out. We'll get cool. We'll get sunny again come Monday and Tuesday. The coldest morning looks to be potentially Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning, with overnight lows down into the mid 40s. So you don't want to put away the sweaters to the back of the closet just yet. We still have a couple more cold fronts to deal with here in Central Florida before we really kick up the heat and head straight into the summer months before you know it.
Yep, this is nice though. I mean, it's, I guess the caveat is the pollen, but I've
It is.
got my nasal mist close by.
As long as you know it's coming, and you're really good at that. You're really good at telling me, oh, Candace, pollen numbers are going up. I'm like, oh, that's right. I do need
I
to
know,
make that
I know.
graphic. So,
Yeah, it's a double whammy with that and the cold and flu. So, but
yeah, but there's a lot of people who like to do things out and
yep,
about, and maybe like last week it was just a little too cold for some
yep.
people. This weekend's going to be nice if you want to be outside. It's just won't be as cool and comfortable as it
Mm-hmm.
has been.
Maybe head out to
Hmm.
Bongo Land. We're gonna show them that in
That
a
looks
minute.
like fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, that does look like fun. Crystal is always so good at
I
finding these
know.
little locations, these little hidden gems, which
The
is so
gyms,
cool.
yes. So
Hmm.
many around here. So we're going to show everyone that in a little bit. But thanks,
Oh,
Candace.
good. Okay.
We'll try to
You're
keep it
welcome.
cool today as best we can.
Will do.
All righty. Well, we want to head over to Trooper Steve. He has been very busy up and down the road and on the road again today. Trooper Steve, good morning.
Good morning, Bridget. How are you guys doing?
You're going to have a partner in crime.
Oh, it's a little bit of
Safe
friendly
traffic
weather
safety,
and
rather, I should say.
yeah, a little weather and traffic competition today. It's always these times of the year whenever the Super Bowl or significant events, and if it happens on our network, we get to have a lot of fun with it. So today, Candace and I are going to do a little behind the scenes stuff, and I'm sure you guys will see it soon. But we are headed to do some traffic challenging, I'm going to call it. Her and I are going to go over and race some go-karts today and have some fun and see who comes out top winner.
Nice.
I have a
I don't know.
history of,
She's competitive.
yeah, she
You're in
is, but
for
I've
it.
got a track record at this place for high speeds and good traffic maneuvering. So I'm still the champion of go-kart racing. So we'll see what happens
I
today
want to make
with
sure you're not getting
Candace.
a souped up go kart though.
Hey, I call that executive privileges, Bridget.
Hmm. I hope they have a pit crew inspecting these vehicles first.
I'm sure creative team will be out there. I mean, our sales team upstairs is going to make sure it's a fair competition.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
we'll check things out. I've been monitoring some fog out
Oh
there this
yeah.
morning with Candace, and things are slowly clearing up. You can see out here on DOT cam, it's off into the horizon a little bit here at I-4 and State Road 417. So we normally see those east and westbound delays in the morning and the evening. Just be cautious if you're getting ready to hit the road because, hey, the fog is there. The delay's slight, not too crazy. I'm watching a crash, though, out in the Sanford area. It does look, oh, this is good news. I love live TV. 417, US 17, south of 417 at Lake Mary was shut down northbound for about 30 minutes or so. It does look like the delay has cleared up. Just please be careful through that area because there'll still be some crews out there. Looks like the rest of our roadways looking pretty good. 408 out on the west side this morning, nice and smooth. Your drive times, pretty good. Pretty average. 29 minutes, Kissimmee to downtown. 23 if you're coming in from Lake Mary. Other roadways, 417 and the Turnpike at the speed limit and at the current drive time. 528 westbound at exit 9. Look at that. So I looked at DOT cam, couldn't find anything. You could still see a westbound delay. I do think this is off of Tradeport and out in that area, eastern portions of the city, getting some of that fog along 408. So please be careful this morning. Brevard, you guys are looking good. Southern portions of Brevard County. Look at that. Hold on. Let's back up a little bit so we can look at that delay there. So northbound 95. Just north of US 192, you can see that slight delay. I'm going to exit out of the program just so you could see it a little bit better and maneuver it here. We are seeing a delay northbound along 95 right there at US 192. Not sure what's causing that just yet, but please be careful. Add about 5 extra minutes to your time. Bridget, outside of that, I ain't tracking nothing. So we did have a few other busy mornings, but Some people think, hey, Steve, does it get bored? I'd rather give you guys good traffic
Yeah,
information than tell you I-4 is closed.
right.
Like, people get confused that we want to report bad news. I don't want to report bad news, and I know you
You
don't
want to help
either.
make the day better, easier, as easy as
Amen.
possible.
Right. Give you a little alternate, little sarcasm on the side to make you laugh, and then continue on with the day. I don't, did you see my story yesterday on my Instagram? A lot of
No,
people
I'm
were
so
making fun of me.
behind. What happened?
A lot of people I got to be a dummy inside of a real race car yesterday
What does that
as a
involve?
rescue. Yeah, it was like I was strapped on the neck, helmet inside the car. They had
Oh
to
my
come in
goodness.
and put a backboard and like remove me from the car and all that stuff so that they could practice for the Rolex 24 that's happening
Ooh.
this weekend at Daytona International Speedway. And talk about top-notch first responders.
So
It was
that's a
really cool because they're
simulation
all.
of if you were in trouble and they needed to get you out in an emergency.
Yes, ma'am. It was
Mm-hmm.
so cool. They were
Wow.
practicing on a real race car. So I asked them, Bridget, I go, so you guys gonna cut me out of this thing? And
Mm-hmm.
they're like, you got $1 million? Because that's the how much the car you're sitting in
Mm-hmm.
cost right now. And I was like, so this is just practice. We're
How
not
does
gonna
it
cut the car.
feel compared to like patrol cars, that being in that cage and everything in there?
I would compare it to sitting in a fighter jet. So I've been able to sit in a fighter jet one
Mm-hmm.
time in my life, and it is extremely
Mm-hmm.
compact. Once you get in it, though, your body kind of forms to it, and
Mm-hmm.
then everything gets strapped in. So unlike us in our normal cars, we can move around, do whatever we want.
Yeah.
You literally become one with the race car, and
Right.
that allows these drivers to really maneuver it the way they do. But the safety mitigation that takes
Mm-hmm.
place blew my mind. I love the
Yeah.
logistics of things. And it was crazy because they make custom rescue tools to assist with the vehicles because some of the tools won't work on like your vehicle or my vehicle because it's just not made for a race car.
Right.
It was really, really cool. I can't wait till my story gets put together for next month because we're going to be able to show you guys so much stuff. They have Porsche Cayennes responding on the track. I need that in a black and tan or with results one written on it because the thing was gorgeous. So I know you got a lot to do, Bridget, this morning. I don't want
Yeah.
to take too much of your time.
Yeah, we're gonna get over to Ezzy Castro, and yeah, so we'll be looking for you a little bit later with Candace. That's gonna be fun.
Yes, at 9 a.m., clickorlando.com.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Trooper Steve.
Bye, Bridget.
All righty, so we want to get over to a story from Ezzy Castro. This is so interesting because the governor is saying that Florida is the birthplace of parents' revolution. And this concerns social media and controls around social media when it comes to youth. So she has a wrap up this morning of this controversial bill that is moving through the State House right now, looking to ban kids under the age of 16 on social media, as well as get rid of existing accounts that belong to minors. So let's take a look.
106 yeas, 13 nays, Mr. Speaker.
So the bill passes.
The Florida House passing a bill banning kids under the age of 16 from having social media accounts. The bill was sponsored by House Speaker Paul Renner, who spoke shortly after the vote, calling it a bipartisan moment.
The architects of social media deliberately design these platforms to be addictive. And what we know now, and we have known that social media platforms have known for many years, is that it harms children.
Orlando Representative Ana Escamani, who voted against the bill, said the intention was, quote, golden, but said it should be up to the parents to make that decision.
And I know that some of these points were already made yesterday on the House floor when it comes to parental rights, to giving parents the opportunity to make these decisions, to be a part of their child's social media experience. And
we spoke to parent Erica Carcagenti. She told us she's aware of the concerns when it comes to social media and kids, and says it's important to stay on top of them when they use the apps.
I don't let her talk to people online, but I think that it's a good outlet for her to find people that are like her and, be able to share with us things that are going on in the world too.
All right, and Ezzy is here with us live this morning. Good morning, Ezzy.
Good morning, Bridget.
This is
How are
certainly a
you?
talker. I'm good. How are you? Thanks for the cafecito
Good,
this morning.
good.
Oh yeah. Anytime I'm in house, we gotta make some cafecito. That's a
Are we
must.
are we ready for another pot?
Maybe, possibly. We'll see where I'm going after this, but maybe I do have time.
We always have so many stories out of Florida when it comes to, some
Hmm.
of these ideas for potential laws. This one seems to be getting a lot of fire under it.
Yeah, it's a big talker, and we were just saying that, a lot of parents do have, they do have their concerns when it comes to social media. But some of the ones that I spoke to just yesterday were saying, well, it's pretty much our decision whether or not we let our kids use
Mhm.
social media or not. So that was, what they were telling me yesterday.
Mhm.
That mother that you just saw in the story, she has a 12-year-old daughter in seventh grade, and she just started using TikTok. She's like, I just started
Mm.
letting her use TikTok, but it's under my supervision. Like, we kind of
Right.
make it like a fun thing between mom and daughter. We do the dances, we do this, and
Mhm.
she's like, that's my way of just keeping tabs on her, but at the same time we're
Right.
having fun. So there's a lot of that. But
Yeah.
this took a big majority of the vote in the House yesterday. This was 106 to 13 in favor of the bill, you
Mhm.
know. But critics are saying, we understand why we're doing this, but at the same time, kind of takes away parental rights. So that's the argument that's
Right.
happening right now.
Yeah, and you look at teenagers have rights too. You think about,
Mm-hmm.
when you were a teen and some of the
Yeah.
privileges you have as you get into the later teen ages. So there's definitely a lot to debate there. And I think the parents have a
Yeah.
good point of wanting to also have their own say because it's like, it's not necessarily green means go and red means stop. There's gray area
Yeah.
in there too where
Right.
conversations and permissions need to happen at home, I think.
Absolutely. And, we actually last night, when you and I were sleeping, there was
Hmm.
actually a poll going on clickorlando.com. And I pulled it just this morning just to see. And it looks like, so we asked, should kids be banned from using social media? That was the question. And we
Hmm.
got 60% said no, and 40% said yes.
Hmm.
So those
Yeah.
those two numbers, they're not too far apart from each other, if you can see. But we just wanted to get some feedback from parents, and I not only did we talk to parents yesterday, but we also spoke to a child therapist from Nemours Children's Health, and she was telling me, she kind of broke down what she's been seeing over the last few years. And I
Hmm.
asked her, I said, what's the age group that you see getting very like impacted by social media? And
Right.
she said 15, 16, 17 is where we see, the
Hmm.
impacts of, lack of sleep, lack of energy at school, or they don't, they procrastinate a lot with when it comes to their homework and stuff like that, is
Hmm.
what how she explained it yesterday. So we got into those details about, yeah, this probably does impact a lot of children. But again, and one thing she did point out was it comes down to parental guidance.
Right.
So I
Right.
said, yeah.
And I think I think this at least gets the ball rolling in a lot of ways in
Yeah.
taking a very involved look at how to protect young people and children because they're just
Right.
exposed younger and younger now. And I know, I remember before I had kids, I said, oh, I'm not going to let them use technology or screen
The
time and all
iPad
these
or the
things.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what
I know.
happens.
It's,
It's like that goes out the
yeah,
door.
it
But at the
does.
same time, I know that they have, they've seen me on social media and, they know I've posted them and, but they're curious. They're like, well, how many likes did you get? And, or what did people say? And so, and then it kind of gives
Yeah.
me pause. Like, I don't know if I want them too involved in that just yet. They're only, they're almost 8, almost 6, but still, it's all
Yeah.
around us. So it's like you can't just put them in a bubble because it's out there at school. It's their classmates,
Right.
their babysitters. Everyone,
Yeah.
has
And the
these social
technology
media
just keeps
connections.
going.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the technology just keeps going and going. In a few years, who knows what else is going to be out
Right.
there,
They're and they're
Yeah.
they're learning to code in elementary school, so they'll be
Yeah.
designing
Oh, wow.
apps and platforms as they, come of age and go into the workforce. So
Right.
there's just like there's got to be a healthy balance there because like you said, the counselors, the mental health experts have definitely been able to come up with a concrete evidence of how it can be harmful, and they
Yeah.
can fall into, these algorithms that can make them self-conscious. We've seen, unfortunately, suicides linked to things on social media.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then at the same time, there are groups where people can connect with common interests and find support. So
Right.
it's a Pandora's
Right.
box.
Yeah, and it's important to point out that this hasn't received any votes yet in the Senate, and we don't
Mm-hmm.
know when or if that will even happen. So that's just an important fact that, if you're watching, you're listening, this is still kind of in the early stages of it, if you might say. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm a new mom, and I was talking to this other mom yesterday. She was showing me other apps that I had no idea about.
Right.
There's this,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I was like, man, they have other stuff that I've
What did she
never
show
heard
you?
of. She showed me this app called it's called Wat Wattpad.
Oh,
Wattpad. And
okay.
I think it's an app where her daughter was using, and it's she goes in there to talk about books and movies.
Oh,
So I guess it's, back in the day we had these chat rooms, right? I think this is now their
right.
way of like talking about, yeah, the AOL chat rooms, but now it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I go to and use this app and we're talking about, for instance, Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
You find other people that are talking about Harry Potter and what chapter they're, kind of, yeah. So I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was very interesting. And
Yeah.
the little girl was telling me, she's like, I love this app because
Mm-hmm.
I get to relate to other people that have the same interests as I do. So
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty interesting.
There's definitely still many positives. So I really appreciate
Yeah.
it, Ezzy. This is really,
Yeah.
this is a great story, and
Yeah,
definitely much more debate still ahead out of Tallahassee for sure. So
for
we'll
sure.
be watching it.
All right, Bridget, thank you for having me. I'll see you around.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can make
Okay.
more cafecito.
Oh yes, yes. Thank you. All right, Ezzy.
See ya.
Thanks. All right. So we do want to get to a bit of news. This is so interesting because it involves a crime alert out of Winter Park, Florida, where they have noticed a rash of burglaries. And so it's been caught on some video cameras around the neighborhood. And so they want people to be on the lookout for the men that were captured on this video here. There's been a string. And so they say 3 men broke into a home. This is in the 1600 block of Mayfield on January 18th. And they appear to be, you know, trying to look like maintenance or landscape workers to sort of disguise themselves and blend in. So they're asking people to call the crime line 1-800-423-TIPS and be aware of your surveillance cameras and report any suspicious activities. So that's in Winter Park. But, speaking of these Ring doorbell cameras, these cameras and the footage captured in the neighborhoods are helping people work together to crack down on crime. And it's just another, it's another extension of the neighborhood watch that, we coined so many decades ago. But now, starting this week, agencies like law enforcement will have to go to the company directly, like Ring, saying that they want to create a request for assistance tool. And I guess this is a legality that Ring wants to put into place because they didn't provide a specific reason, but Ring mentioned concerns about the relationship with law enforcement nationwide. So there will be a little bit more of a hoop to jump through to get footage like this as far as the law enforcement agencies are concerned. So we'll keep you updated on how that works out. In the meantime, we're taking a look at booster seats. This is something that is actually good news. They say that quite a few of the booster seats that have been tested, 47 out of the 54 tested, had a top rating. And experts say children buckled up in the booster seats are 45% less likely to be hurt in a crash compared to seatbelts alone. So if you want to check that out, it's the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety Group. Checked out these booster seats. Again, this is for kids 4 to 8 years old, when they graduate from the traditional car seat. So I also posted that on my Facebook page. That's Bridgett Ellison News 6, or you can go to clickorlando.com/consumer. So we hope to see you again tomorrow right here at 7:30 for Breakfast with Bridgett, and we hope you have a great day.